Today on the bench, I want to tie you up the Elk Hair Caddis. This color combination works really good for the caddis on the Columbia River and actually over in Alberta. So make sure you have these materials ready before you tie the fly. For the hook, we'll use a size 12 dry fly, some black 8/0 NANOSILK to tie with, some fine silver wire for the rib, some light olive dubbing for the body, a brown neck hackle as the body hackle, and some bleached yearling elk hair for the wing. To start the fly off, I've started with my thread onto the hook and I've left it near the eye. I've taken a strand of my silver fine wire and I'm just going to tie this in and try to tie it the whole length of the body so you get a good base layer of thread down. We'll leave this off the back until after we tie in the body. Now that I have the rib tied in, I'm going to take my light olive dubbing, and again you can vary the colors and slowly wrap it on there. I prefer the light olive in a light wing. That's what we get on the Columbia River, and this pattern is exceptional out there. So dub it in. You want a slight taper on the body, so again just vary your dubbing as you go and just start wrapping in, creating the body, create a bit of a taper, and finish off close to the eyelet. Leave a little bit of room as always, that kind of 1/8 of an inch or so, and then wrap back with your thread and wrap forward. Now that we have the body tied in, I'm going to take a hackle, and again I like to measure it up, put it on your hook. It should be the hook gap, just the hook gap or slightly longer, so that's pretty good size. And when you tie in this hackle, tie it fairly upright. Give yourself a little bit of room. See how I've got a gap there without any material or any feathers on there? And I want to kind of keep it fairly upright. So do a few turns this way and a few that way. So it's fairly upright. Trim off your excess. Tie in the rest of that stem towards the eyelet just so you make sure it's nice and secured. And now when you tie it, when it's vertical like this, as we wrap back, you'll see the hackle stands up nicely. Now that we have the hackle tied in and it's fairly vertical, I'm going to put some hackle pliers on there. Take one wrap first around and then slowly progress back. And we want, again, six or seven turns as you go back. And then go right back to the butt. Now, when you get to the butt, take your wire and we're going to wrap that in. So essentially we're tying off that hackle with that wire and then proceed to wrap it forward. And don't worry about catching any hackles. The people that worry about it, the fibers, just keep wrapping that wire straight up forward and you'll create a nice rib, and you're actually securing down those fibers, and finish off right at the eyelet. So I've trimmed off my excess wire. I'm just going to go to the back, get rid of that little bit of hackle, and now you've got a nice hackle that's going to keep the fly floating, and you've got a nice rib on the fly to secure that hackle down. Now, the next step, I'm going to put a nice wing in. A lot of people like to trim the top on an angle so it holds that wing up. So what I'm going to do is just cut it on an angle, just trim the very top on an angle before we tie in our wing. And I like this really light colored elk hair. It's really nice color. It's quite fine. So I'm going to take a clump and make sure you got a decent clump. Doesn't have to be too thick, but you want a nice wing on this fly. About that much. Good finger full. And of course we got to stack it. So put it in your stacker and stack it up once you've cut it out. Now that we have the elk hair all stacked, you can see it's all nice and even. Don't cut off these ends yet. We're going to keep that fairly full. Measured about, just so the tips are on an angle past the hook bend. So it's just a little bit past the hook bend. What I'm going to do, now here's a trick. You go around once loosely, twice loosely, and then pull up. A lot of people pull down, but if you pull up, it's going to secure the wing upwards. And then just keep wrapping up. And once you've pulled up and you secured it down, take a few more wraps. That will flare the wing and keep it upright. Now you take this pile up in the front. Now that we have a big mess up front, We're going to take that and just trim it tight to the hook eye. But you want to leave a little head on the fly. Trim up all these extra pieces. Then you have a nice flared head on the fly. Now to make sure that we have a nice flared head, I'm going to take my thread now that I've cut it. I'm going to move in front of the head and tie off there. So this will push the head back and create a nice little head on the fly. Once you've taken a few wraps, take your whip finisher and whip finish off. And cut off your excess thread. So there it is, my version of an Elk Hair Caddis. As you can see, I prefer the lighter wings and the darker bodies. Again, change it up to the caddis that hatch in your area, but this is an exceptional pattern when caddis are hatching. To watch all our latest Sport Fishing on the Fly episodes and to order Sport Fishing on the Fly merchandise, head to www.sfotf.ca. And if you would like to book an adventure like this one shown, head to ontheflyadventures.ca and book yourself the trip of a lifetime.